Welcome and thank you for joining me. My name's Amanda Godfrey, for those of you that don't know me. The founder of Mystical Dragon, the college principal, and one of the main teachers at Mystical Dragon. Hi Elaine, Kerry, Kylie, thank you. Thank you for joining me tonight. Hey Tracy. Thank you everybody. So tonight I'm going to talk a little about crystals, and specifically we're going to just talk a little bit about crystals that I would recommend for stress, for anxiety, for depression in particular, because I know these are crystals, or these are things that I'm sure that we could all use a little bit of a hand with at the moment. Oh, thank you, Catherine. That's lovely. I'm glad you're enjoying the weekly sessions. Hey, Audrey. Hey, Liz. Hey, Jude. Beautiful. Thank you, guys. So for me, I really adore and love crystals, and I have worked with crystals for a long time. I was really lucky to be introduced to crystals early on in my life. I had grandparents that lived out in a place called Tourmaline, which is like about an hour out of Bendigo. And they had a farm there, and that was in gold, what do you call it? Gold mining territory. And so we used to actually, Nan would always talk about, being able to find gold, but also like amethyst and crystals and digging up those sorts of things. And we used to dig up what's called thunder eggs, which don't look like much on the outside, but when you crack them open, that's where you get like your little agate caves and those kinds of little quartz, like clear quartz, little caves that you can get. So they're like the size that fit in your hands usually, but they really don't look like much on the outside. It more looks like, perhaps a dried up dirt ball on the outside, but you get like this beautiful treasure on the inside. And I remember we didn't necessarily do that all the time, but I do remember when we would go and do anything connected with the thunder eggs, I remember being fascinated and just loving it. And when we were out on the farm, always being attentive, looking for pieces of quartz and that sort of thing that you might come across on our walks. So, I've always loved and adored crystals and have studied them and kind of soaked up as much information about crystals as I can and collected them, of course. And I can't go into a crystal shop without finding some new friend to take home with me always. And I always love learning about more crystals or new crystals as well as we go along, because they still find new varieties that kind of you get introduced to as we go along as well, which is always lovely to continue your own crystal journey. Yes, Audrey is here with us tonight, and she's one of our crystal teachers at Mystical as well, and is very excited for crystals too. We both adore crystals. So I'm glad to see there's a few other crystal lovers here too. So I wanted to specifically talk about some of the ones I would recommend, like I said, for things like stress, anxiety, and depression, because I know at the moment there's lots of people that are struggling and finding it really hard to be able to perhaps do a little bit of healing for themselves or to take care of themselves on these levels. So I thought that this would be a good topic for us tonight. So first of all, I want to talk a bit about stress and anxiety, because they have all the same types of crystals falling under those two umbrellas particularly. And I have two favorites that I'm going to recommend that if you're a crystal lover and you've been collecting crystals yourself, you probably already have at home and can pick up and start utilizing straight away. So first of all, when it comes to stress and anxiety, rose quartz is one of my number one recommendations. And look, there isn't too much that rose quartz can't help us with. I just adore this beautiful crystal. When I do healings, I often end up sending pieces of rose quartz away with clients because it's such a beautiful, nurturing and healing crystal. If you can't see it very well in this light, it is pink stone. This one's a lovely heart. I think that rose quartz works really well in that heart shape, but any kind of tumbled or even rough piece of rose quartz. It all works beautifully. It doesn't have to be shaped to anything in particular, but rose quartz has definitely got a very nurturing and healing energy. So if you're feeling like you need to put some of that healing energy back into yourself, rose quartz is absolutely one of those number ones that I would recommend. And it really does help with stress, anxiety. It's also one of my top picks for if you're struggling with frustration and anger. Rose quartz also assists us with being able to work through things like frustration and anger as well, and helping to kind of dissipate that frustration and anger for us. The other number one recommendation I will have that you might already have at home is amethyst. And this is a palm stone in amethyst that I've got here. So amethyst is another fantastic crystal for stress and anxiety, and actually it's also one that is also recommended for depression. So it'll help with all three of those things for you. Lots of people love this one. This is also a really good one if you're having trouble sleeping, then amethyst is a great one that assists with sleep as well. So it can help with things like insomnia and just getting us more relaxed and settled to be able to go to sleep as well. So obviously these crystals will also help with other things too, but I'm really focusing on our topic tonight of how these things might help you on those levels. Oh, fantastic. Hi, Narelle from Scotland. That's wonderful to have people from the other side of the globe joining us tonight as well. Thanks, Narelle, for coming along. So rose quartz and amethyst. So another one that I recommend for stress and anxiety would be your fluorite. So I've got a green piece of fluorite here. I've got more of a bluey piece here as well. Fluorite comes in quite a few different colours. It also, you tend to get very purpley fluorite also. And you can get it quite striped too with what's called rainbow fluorite as well. But fluorite is one of those ones that helps with stress and anxiety. It's a really good one that works a lot on the mind. So this is one that will help to calm our mind and help us to refocus a little bit more. So that tends to be how it kind of functions on those stress levels as well. So know that fluorite is a really great one to help to calm our mind and to focus our mind and to assist us with that stress and anxiety levels as well. Another beautiful purple one that I really recommend is this is a piece of lepidolite when the light's going to keep catching it. So this is actually another purpley coloured one. I should have grabbed out a couple of different pieces. This is a slice of the lepidolite. I love lepidolite. It is a really good one for stress, for stress and anxiety, helping us to kind of get more relaxed, calming the mind. But this is also one of my favourite ones to recommend for insomnia as well. And that's why I tend to have some at home in the slices, because I find the slice works really well to tuck under our pillow to be able to have with us at night and assist with sleeping. So this is usually my favourite when it comes to insomnia in particular. But like I said, it also works well with stress and anxiety and really calming us down. And it's really interesting because it naturally has lithium in the lepidolite, and I believe that's one of the things that they actually add to like antidepressants and those sort of things as well, which is a really interesting fact that I came across earlier in the week. So that's a really great one to help us in calming down. Oh, lepidolite, let me double check myself. Lepidolite is the correct way to spell that one. So yes, we usually do have lepidolite in the slices in our store as well. I'm not sure if it's on the e-store at the moment, but I'll double check with Nolene, because if it isn't, we'll make sure we get some up in the e-store as well. One of my absolute favourites. So also for stress and anxiety, I highly recommend blue lace agate, which is a nice soft blue crystal. It's got the beautiful banding in it. One of my really favourite agates. I love working with blue lace agate, but unfortunately is one of those crystals that has been mined out of the ground. So we've had it mined out once before, and I believe we're back at that point where it has been mined out again because they found a small pocket of it, and we're selling it again. Beautiful, calming, peaceful, very relaxing crystal. Tends to get people in, much calmer space when working with our blue lace agate. So one that I really love, very healing, nurturing energy with blue lace, but you may find it a little bit hard to get your hands on, or if you can find it, these days it can be a little bit more expensive even for the tumbled, just because it's harder to get your hands on. 'Cause like I said, it's been mined out, so it's whatever you can get your hands on is pretty much all we can get these days. Yes, Audrey, I need a bigger house too, just to fit all my crystals as well. um, The last one I'd recommend specifically, because I don't want to go through lists, like obviously there'll be more, but these are like my favorite picks, and that's why I'm explaining some of the reasons why. Um, Black Tourmaline and Shungite are my last two recommendations in the stress and anxiety side. This is a small piece of Black Tourmaline, and then the Shungite can be hard sometimes to pick out from some of your other black tumbled crystals. So both of these are really beautiful for working with stress and helping us to calm, but they bring in a lot of protective energy too. So sometimes we get really anxious and stressful because we need some more grounding, and we just need that feeling like we're safe and that we're protected, and we need that energy reinforced for ourselves. So both of these crystals will help to do that for you. Black tourmaline is actually my very favorite protective crystal to recommend, and I actually have a pendant that I wear all the time, which is from black tourmaline. And the shungite has it's got very strong healing properties as well, and is really good on so many levels, on a healing level. So that is a really great crystal just for any kind of healing at all. So whether it's stress, anxiety, depression, or any kind of physical healing that you might be needing to do, Shungite's fantastic for that as well. Yes, your blue lace agate is good for meditation as well. Absolutely it is. So you'll find that there's quite a few of these ones. Even amethyst is a really good one for meditation. So quite a few of these you'll find really good to meditate with because they're very calming, and they bring us back into that more relaxed space where we're more receptive to be able to do things like meditation. So yes, definitely blue lace is good for meditation. So those are like my top picks when it comes to things like stress and anxiety. So if you're feeling like you need something extra, those would be my top picks in particular. I also wanted to talk about depression. Um, like I said, there's a couple of those ones I've just gone through, particularly amethyst and lepidolite, that are also known to help with depression. But I have a few other top picks that are specific for depression. So my absolute favorite when it comes to crystals for depression would be citrine. This is like my top pick, and this is known as the happy stone. Uh, Citrine, I know a lot of people know it as a money stone, but it's actually an abundance stone. So it will bring us an abundance of whatever we ask for it to help bring us. But I also I know it as a happy stone. It really helps to shift us more into a state of joy and really helps to uplift us more. So we can also get it in things like clusters, which I've got a nice cluster there to show you as well. So citrine is a really beautiful, uplifting, joyful, really happy stone. So I do find that it really assists people that are feeling that depression. You might even be on medication for depression, to really help to bring in some more joy and to uplift your energy and uplift your vibration. So when it comes to depression, I find that that color ray of like your oranges and your yellows in your crystals will tend to be the more helpful, because they tend to be those crystals that hold a lot of joy, a lot of upliftment, and they've got more of that kind of happy, bright energy with them. So know that things like even like your orange or honey calcite, if you can see that one, that's a little heart, that also holds that kind of energy as well. I find that this one is a little bit softer in its energy than what citrine is. I find the calcites have got a real soft energy. And citrine tends to have, I don't know, like a little bit stronger energy, let's say. So if you feel like you want something that's a little bit softer, perhaps feeling a little bit more nurturing, you can look at some of the calcites. They've got that real beautiful, soft, healing energy as well. Even softer than rose quartz, I find the calcites are on an energy level. Carnelian is another one that I find that's really beautiful for depression and is another one of my favorites. These are also, of course, connecting with our solar plexus and helping to do some healing and some shifting of things in our solar plexus. And that's really what we want to be getting activated when we're suffering from depression or having issues with depression. We really need to do some healing in and around our solar plexus. That will really assist us greatly. So that's part of the reason why your yellows and orange crystals will really help to activate in there and do some healing. And another one I'd recommend is yellow tiger eye or golden tiger's eye, which has got some beautiful shimmery surfaces with the golden tiger's eye that I've got here. Beautiful, really positive, bright energy as well, a little bit like the citrine, very uplifting and assists us greatly with depression as well. So, I mean, you could use a combination of these if you wanted to, or just pick one that you're finding is really resonating with you, or that you might already have at home that's going to be helpful for you as well. One that I didn't have to be able to pick up and show you at home, but wanted to mention as well when it comes to depression, I find rutile quartz or rutilated quartz is also another really good one to be able to assist with depression. It also has the elements of protection and grounding us a little bit as well in the rutilated quartz. So it actually looks like quartz, which I've got some quartz here, but it's like it generally has like little, it looks like it has little hairs that are growing inside of it, often quite black with the rutilated quartz. But sometimes we can get things like angel hair, which has got like little gold hair that's running through it. I just haven't got any of mine that's at home at the moment. And of course, it's really handy to know that clear quartz is a fantastic crystal for any of this that we're talking about tonight. It is a really good crystal to use for anything. Just making sure that we program our crystal, so especially clear quartz, if you're going to use it as your anything go-to, make sure that you program it. And when you program a crystal, you're essentially asking it to assist you with something specific. So it's very easy to program your crystals, no matter which one that you're choosing or what you're choosing to do with it. I tend to find my recommendation is hold it within both hands and take a few minutes to really affirm to that crystal what it is that you're asking it to help you with. So let's say, I'd really love to feel uplifted and I really need some help in healing my depression and just being uplifted. And take a few minutes to really see yourself, what does it look like when you're not suffering from depression? Are you happy and uplifted and dancing around? And, what are you doing? So see that, feel that in yourself. Feel what would that feel like? How happy would I feel? What does that energy feel like? And just affirm it. Or even just affirm it if you're at the point that you can't see it and you can't feel it. Affirm it to your crystal for a couple of minutes. And then I always like to seal that in by blowing on my crystal, because that seals your energy into the crystal and seals your request into the crystal. And then essentially your crystal is programmed for you. It knows exactly what you want it to do. So like I mentioned, all of these crystals have many different ways that we can use them, not just for what I'm talking about tonight. So this kind of helps to hone them in to the specifics of what you're asking your crystal to do for you. So I also wanted to mention, like I said, your orange crystals and your yellow crystals will all tend to really tap into that joyful energy, work on your solar plexus and really help to uplift you. Know that the blue color ray crystals, so all your blue colored crystals, I've got a nice piece of blue calcite here, all tend to bring in that peace and calm kind of energy. So like the blue lace that I talked about as well before, they all tend to tap into that peace and calm energy. They do work on communication as well, but these are crystals that are going to assist you with peace and calm. So it'll help you with things like stress and anxiety to help calm you down. So these are all ones to reach for. So if you've got some blue crystals at home perhaps that I haven't mentioned, but you don't have any of the ones I've talked about tonight, you might want to reach for those instead, because they're going to really help bring in that peace and calm and be good to meditate with and to have around you, just to help you relax and get back into that more calming space. And also I wanted to mention that, like the dark coloured crystals, like our black ones, like our Shungite and our black Tourmaline, they all tend to have an element of protection and grounding that come in with all of our dark coloured crystals, like smoky quartz as well. They all tend to have an element of grounding and protection, and so they will all assist us with stress and anxiety on some level, because usually when we're stressed and we're really anxious, we're actually really tense and we're kind of up here, and we actually need to calm down. And it's like it's just working on another level of peace and calm, really, to, you know, get our feet on the ground and to ground ourselves and center ourselves a little bit more. So they may be ones to have a look around if you've got crystals already at home, to have a look around and perhaps reach for at this time as well, if you are feeling the need for something extra. So some ways to use your crystals. So if we've programmed them, the other thing I wanted to mention, of course, is we need to make sure we're cleansing our crystals regularly as well. So do know that our crystals need to be cleansed regularly, and it's one of the big things I find people forget to do the most. So definitely need to cleanse your crystals, especially if you're working with them for things like, you know, stress and anxiety and depression. These are things that the crystals will be absorbing energy for us regularly, and so they'll need to be cleansed regularly as well. So something as easy as just do a little smudge over your crystal every so often, to help give them a nice clearing. Or if you've got an amethyst cluster at home, they're ideal to have. I have an amethyst cluster. I put all my crystals and my jewelry on top of that every night that I've worn for the day, and they get charged overnight, and then the next day I can choose to use them again or use something else. So they're the main ones I'm going to recommend, because there is quite a list of different ways we can cleanse, but they're the main ones that I recommend. Yes, you can cleanse with water and you can cleanse with tap water. You've just got to be careful, because there's certain crystals that don't like water as well, but you certainly can cleanse with them. And under the full moon, of course, they love having a moon bathe, our crystals do. So definitely try to get them out under the moon, or even on the windowsill at those times as well. So that's why I like to talk about smudging, and the amethyst clusters are like the main ones that I talk about in short little things like this, because they're probably the most versatile, and I don't have time to go through crystals that don't like water and those sorts of things. But we do have a crystal knowledge workshop we run at Mystical, and I do have up in our correspondence college, which goes further into more techniques and different ways to cleanse and activate your crystals, and talks more about different formations and good ways to use them and all those sorts of things as well. So if you want to go more in depth, perhaps have a look at that as well. So please know that when we're using our crystals, the big essential thing that you want to remember is that our crystals are going to work for us and work with us if they're in our aura. So that's the big essential thing, is we want to have them in and around our aura. So this means that you can certainly wear them. You might have jewelry that they're in. You might want to wear them that way. Or for us ladies, I often have them in my top pocket or my bra. Sorry, fellas that are watching. Or you can literally have them in a pocket. So you can have them in a pocket. It doesn't have to be high up on us, but you can literally have them in a pocket. I don't so much recommend things like handbags, because we tend to put handbags down, and so they're not necessarily always actively in our aura. But if that's the only way you've got to carry them around with you, then that's the only way that you've got. But you certainly can have them obviously in your environment as well. So like having beside the bed is really great, especially those ones that are for insomnia, to help us to wind down and help us to be able to sleep. So, you know, having them, you know, wherever you're working regularly, if you're working from home, having them perhaps dotted around where you're working, so that they're constantly around you and that energy can build up for you and do what it needs to for you. So it's not much good having it beside the bed all day if you're going to be, in the other half of the house where they're not really near you. So you really want to have it where it can be working with you. And like I said, don't forget to make sure that it gets cleansed every so often. So you can have it with you during the day and then take it to bed with you of a night time if you want. But do make sure that you're cleansing regularly because, it'll only be a matter of a couple of days and that crystal will probably be really needing a cleanse by then. And the crystals will work better for you and work better with you if they're cleansed regularly, because otherwise it's a bit like they get really full of energy and I suppose negative energy, and they need to clear that out so that they can work at their best for us as well. So just remember that, and when they get a good cleanse, then they can work more effectively for you. So sometimes I find that's the problem. I get people say, oh, it used to work really well for me and it doesn't work so well anymore. I don't notice the difference anymore. And then if I ask when's the last time you've cleansed it, it's often, oh, I haven't cleansed it in months. So, we want to be in a good regular routine of cleansing our crystals and taking care of them that way. And then they can work better for us and do a really good job for us. I also find that for things like stress and anxiety and those sort of things, it's really lovely to do some of your meditations and perhaps, have a piece over your heart or even just hold it in your hand. So incorporate it into your meditation as well. And that'll really charge it up with some of that peace and calm energy as well, which you can keep carrying on with you after your meditation as well. So that's a really handy one to do also. Or if you just stop regularly during your day to do some deep breathing and just to recenter yourself, pull your crystal out and hold it and center yourself with that crystal as well. So that can just really help to refocus you back on that, I'm coming back to center and coming back into that peaceful, that calm space, and really embracing that and becoming really very more mindful, of getting back into that space as well. So as usual, I've been nearly half an hour, everybody, because I love, sharing all this information with you. I don't like cutting it off too short. But if anyone has any really last very quick questions, I'll quickly have a look, see if there's anything I can answer before I finish up. So if you burn sage incense or Palo Santo regularly, does that count as cleansing? Well, the crystals will certainly get some of that energy, definitely. But I do find it's really even more helpful to the crystals if we're a bit intentional about cleansing them as well. Sorry. So yes, that will work, Mon, but know that it's good to stop and do some intentional cleansing as well. So maybe just, pick up some of your crystals and use that incense around them with that intent of cleansing them also. Beautiful. I think I've answered a few questions as we've gone along. So yes, do know that you can use multiple crystals that I've talked about all together. And I find clear quartz is one that's really good at amplifying other crystals too. So you can put some clear quartz with any of those crystals we've talked about to help boost the energy of the other crystal or other crystals that they're with as well. So that's also really helpful. There are no crystals that don't get along. They do all work really well together, so don't stress about, will this one go well with that one. They all work really nicely together, so I've never found that crystals clash or don't get along well or don't work well together. So know that as well. And really, I always highly recommend being really intuitive with your crystals. So if you don't have any of the crystals I've talked about, but you're feeling that you need something to assist you at the moment, go to what crystals that you do have and kind of just center yourself and intuitively ask, okay, which crystal do I need? Which is going to be the best one for me to work with at the moment? And, just kind of get a feel and see what you're drawn to. It might be a particular color that's really appealing to you. It might be a particular one that just calls out to you for whatever reason, or the thought pops in your head that that's the one you need to use. Or you can even do a lucky dip. We often do lucky dips to see, that way there's no logical aspect of your mind that's working. It's just reach in, pull out what you need, and just trust and know that that's the one that's going to be the most helpful for you at the moment. So, trust yourself, because the crystals will talk to you. I definitely see them as friends, and they certainly have an energy, and they will talk to us and guide us and assist us as we need. So do know that, you can trust yourself with that connection. So thank you so much, everyone. Thank you for joining me. I hope that you have found something inspiring or helpful from what I have talked about tonight. I hope you find some helpful healing companions with your crystals that might assist and uplift you going forward. Sending out loads of love to you all, missing you all heaps. It feels like forever since we've been able to be face to face with people. Can't wait to be open. Our store we're hoping to be open on Tuesday, the 27th of October. That's the first week we're allowed to be open, so we're looking forward to opening. It's about 5 weeks. I'll probably start a countdown on our page because we can't wait to be open. So sending lots of love out to everybody. Oh, yes, Narelle, you can use a singing bowl to help cleanse your crystals. Absolutely, that will cleanse your crystals. All right, beautiful. Thank you, guys. Take care.